Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is information we are seeing on your favorite channel, Positive Media GHS. Martinasia information or we are seeing and the your friend me Kent. Now I want him say, maybe we are make actual say information the ebi we are see. Now, penny for say wars have years. Now wars have years. I may Kent me na me war until kasa. Now we suswanka okasa no to sabi. No kana one can ye na metia. We are betidra mama saying that to say, oh, and I will see, oh, now ten I will dick on Yes, Martina say, my money to send the BIS no information, a be a bit to information a bit to and I say me, okay, I send the Burma and pay. And then maybe we'll go through the reason why GM Bank was collapsed. GM Bank license of GM Bank was GM Bank, and as a GM Savings and Loans financial institution was the licensing was revoked. And then no, Martinez here, I will take you to the reason why the license was revoked. Now, and then Martinez yes, without wasting much time, I will take you through the brief history and as a brief details of the whole incident. And you know, we will start in the year 2019, and the Bank of Ghana issued statement say over 23 savings and loans, any bank and as a financial institutions of Ghana say their license has been revoked, and which means the bank has become insolvent, and this financial institution has become insolvent. Now, and then Emma, this bank be insolvent. Bank of Ghana actually this savings and loans are facing liquidity crisis, which means they are not able to meet the conditions. I say and as a conditions and as terms and conditions. Bank of Ghana has imposed on them to operate as a savings and loan and as a bank no. Now, so to be able to operate as a financial institution, as a bank, and as a savings and loans in this country, we have a minimum paid up requirement as a bank, a financial institution you have to meet. Whereby if you're a bank, so we a bank, you need about 400 million Ghana cedis to be able to operate as a bank and as a financial institution or Ghana has a. Now, and to know this bank has default all this condition and that these banks are going through financial crisis and as a liquidity crisis, and so no, it's jeopardizing the operation of their, and I said, customers and the deputies are not able to get their money back, and I said they are not able to withdraw their money because there's financial irregularity in this liquidity and cost for this savings and loans in the banks anymore. No. It's so Bank of Ghana and now amount to 2 year is going a long way to affect their economy, and into know they have no other choice than to collapse unless they revoke their license from operating as a financial institution, as a savings and loan, and the banks or Ghana has it. Now, every told you know, GN Bank was not exception. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Now, I'll let us go into the details on the brief history of GN Bank. GN Bank, and as a GN Savings and Loan, was formerly known as First National Savings and Loans. Yes, into my channel, so GN Bank, and as a GN Savings and Loan, was formerly known as First National Savings and Loan. It was 2006, and the name changed from First National Savings and Loans to GN Savings and Loan, which is Group Ndoum Savings and Loan. Now, they operated as savings and loan until the year 2014. 2014 is where the Bank of Ghana issued them a universal certificate to be able to operate as a bank. And so in 2014, NGN Savings and Loan became a bank, whereby they were able to operate and also increase their financial power in the economy. And from that period, GN Bank began to grow, and GN Bank became one of the top fast-growing banks that Ghana has. And as of 2019, GN Bank had over 260 branches across the country, and that's across the 10 regions of this country. Before then, there was no 16 regions. Before then, it was 10 regions. And as of 2019, before this bank was being the licensing being revoked, now it had about 260 branches. But let's not forget that even before our GN Bank license was revoked, in 2018, now this is where it gets very tensions. And I say, this is where everything started. In 2018, Bank of Ghana NOT said there is irregularities going on in the books of GN Bank, and I said GN way into January 2018, and I said 2019, and the Bank of Ghana reclassify. Bank of Ghana issue a statement to approve GM Bank to be reclassified into a savings and loan. So in 2019, January, no, GN Bank was demoted, and I said it was declassified, and I said reclassified to be a savings and loan. Into in 2014 was the year where the Bank of Ghana issued them the universal certificate to operate as a bank. Now, this is where everything started. In 2018, a lot of customers and also depositors were having issues withdrawing their money into Bank of Ghana realized that there were irregularities, financial irregularities in there. These banks, were not able to meet some requirements and said some condition as a bank, and they have to reclassify. So Bank of Ghana said if your bank is reclassified, that it means you are like they move your institution from being operating as a bank to a savings and loan. And so the purpose of reclassifying this GN Bank was to help them downsize their operation and inject capital into their operation so that they will be able to meet the imposition and as a condition Bank of Ghana has imposed on them. Now, so which means Bank of Ghana gave GN Bank the opportunity to be able to correct all these mistakes and be able to come back and stand back on their feet. Into January was when the bank was reclassified, and even according to Bank of Ghana, they gave them Bank of Ghana assigned an advisor to a GN Bank so that he will be able to advise them on the things they are supposed to do and things that they are not supposed to do. But as of 8 months down the line, Bank of Ghana realized that with other financial institutions and other finance houses of Ghana, including GN Bank, are not, and as were not able to inject capital into their operation, and as they were not able to recoup, and as they were not able to resolve the liquidity challenges that was confronting them, and so they had no other choice than to revoke their license. So that is the first reason why GN Bank license was revoked, and as the GN Bank was collapsed. A lot of people asking why GN Bank was collapsed despite its branches across the country. I mean, no bank in Ghana, and no financial institution in Ghana has more branches than GN Bank. As of GN Bank, which happens to be one of a vibrant bank, which was fast growing, a lot of people were very disappointed as to why the licenses were revoked. Now people were even asking, say, I don't know, Bank of Ghana, and I say, buying into me, I'm why inject capital into their investment and into whatever challenge that they were going. I mean, since it's a locally owned bank, I didn't government into me and supporting. And a Bank of Ghana so by Abonte Bekai said there were a lot of financial irregularities. They were using some money from GN Savings and Loan, and that's a GN Bank to support their sister financial institution, which is called the Gold Coast Management Fund, which means GN Bank was using some of their money to pay off investment. Investment of Gold Coast, it means their investment has matured, and so they have to use the money from GN Bank to be able to pay those who invested in their sister company, Gold Coast Management Fund. And Bank of Ghana realizes that doing this, is a way of, I said, what creates here the regulations and also rules and regulations that govern Bank of Ghana and GN Bank. That one was also another cause for them to revoke their license. Now, the founder and owner of GN Bank, which is the group Ndoum bank, and I say savings and loans, Edab Abba Bonta check of mine say the video about Bonta catch a Ghanaian said the reason why they were facing liquidity challenges and also liquidity crisis was because Ghana has say Abaima contractors and also road contractors contract some 1 year projector. The government doesn't pay them outright or catch them so the government will pay them subsequently. Now, in the sana younger say that the Ghana had the local contractors in the banks on contract and some loan that buy coin until later abandon to and then also go back to the banks and pay whatever loan they own to the bank. Now in Tieba Nisano, Dr. Papa Kwesindu, that just said, the bank that his financial institution began to face all these liquidity challenges because Bosia na amudeba contractors omunfanko ye juma no. The contractors has not been able to pay back. The contractors has not been able to pay back the loan they came from their financial institution. And you know that's more reason why they have not been able to meet up. And I said they are not able to meet up the condition the Bank of Ghana imposed on them. And so that's more reason why they are facing liquidity challenges. And you know, even if that is the case, a buy entire contractor's car, he has not even right say he revoked their license since ono na wama contractors bosia and the contractors so ababa bosia our banking institution want to know. Sabane sampon oh who are buying na wama contractors no contractors are one to your mocha and my bosia on your hodia. Into know the only way to solve this problem and the only way to resolve the issue is to pay the contractors so that these contractors can also come to us and pay their debt. What in America say? And into know I say Bank of Ghana CC and Dr. Pablo Kozinu SC just say akoya chuma mentri we CC sa na bebe na I can say sanity there and aban no anya there aban one contractors contracts on munye juma now for over a period of years now won't your moka. I don't know how are these contractors are supposed to pay their debt. What I say, and then to know if they so indirectly and I say technically no you bank and I say or buy no at the bank seneca and then to know I mean if that is the cause if the banks are facing liquidity challenges the only solution to solve this problem is to pay off the debt and I say kind of hold the contractors and so that these contractors can also come to the bank and pay off their loans, you know, saying the bank will have the financial power to be able to fulfill whatever condition that the Bank of Ghana has imposed on them. What I say? Now, and to know that we are Kosua Banesa, say about Chuma mentioned was in the videos about was the press conference and the idea in recent times, you know. I don't know, say because election he is trying to prompt presidential candidates say someone are aware of what the situation on our grounds on it because it was a deliberate attempt of the government to collapse the banking institution. Now, video be abetuja Papa Kwesi Ndoum, Dr. Papa Kwesi Ndoum, the video be abetuja allegedly accusing a former finance minister of deliberately collapsing his bank. In that video, he says that former finance minister Ken Ofori Atta actual memorandum Ekoma cabinet. So omun deliberately war issue when no omun to me collapse GN Bank because as there are someone to me collapse GN Bank now it will affect their political chances and it is the right direction say they collapse GN Bank so that they can have their chance at their political games and I say whatever it is there in their political career now into it is the right direction there. GN Bank must be all means be collapsed and I said the alliances need to be collapsed. Now, Papa Kwesi went ahead and say, even though former minister of finance had submitted this memorandum command cabinet. Now, even that cabinet did not even give him the go ahead to revoke the license of GN Bank. This is according to Dr. Papa Kwesi. No one can video now or debate.
Memorandum submitted by the Minister of Finance at that time, Mr. Kenneth Kununku Ofori Atta, to ask Cabinet to agree for GN Bank to be collapsed, for its license to be taken. I have read this memorandum. This memorandum doesn't consider that it was the biggest bank with the widest distribution network in Ghana. It didn't consider that we were providing monies that was banking services that was increasing financial inclusion in Ghana. In writing to Jubilee House, that if you don't want to pay me, let's sit down and agree who is owed and pay them directly. Pay them directly. What is left, you give to us. Why wouldn't they mind us? Why would they even don't want to talk to me? Why? Why? And this thing, look, after Mr. Ofori Atta sent his memorandum to cabinet, according to what I'm holding here, Cabinet did not agree that they should collapse GN Bank. Let me read to you what Cabinet said. It says Cabinet at its 36th meeting held on Thursday, 19th July 2018, considered a report of the Cabinet Committee on Economic Matters on the above memorandum submitted by the Minister for Finance. The memorandum requested Cabinet to consider.
Enuanu monitor ena masusu tia senia etie no senia papa kwesinu na betuja no. I mean he has a copy of the memorandum na memo na he has a copy of the memo na former finance minister Edekoma cabinet said cabinet should deliberate upon it. Now revoking the license of GN Bank and GN Service and Loan. Now recent times, and as I mean a few days ago, and communication director of Bank of Ghana there be two just Bernard Otabel, honorary director of communication for Bank of Ghana. Now the be two just say Dr. Ndoum was disrespectful to the Bank of Ghana. Ghana for says what kind of disrespect that did people consume disrespected Bank of Ghana? I mean, what kind of disrespect? And at the Dr. Papa consume disrespect into disrespect Bank One or disrespect Bank of Ghana and into the multi so the license or no. Now, even if it is respect, does it have a good ground for his bank to be collapsed? Now, Ghanaians are asking, say, Bank of Ghana should come clear with the kind of disrespect Dr. Papa Kwesindum Edeba Moa or the disrespect Bank of Ghana and into the Mujina so I'm the collapse in the bank. No, and to know some way would you hope to be an answer which did she baby? I say both of them are playing blame games. Papa Kwesindum ban will be blaming way or can defend thing. Bank of Ghana so ban also can defend thing all together. Now, Ghana for say, I mean, if it is a kind of disrespect there, I mean, Bank of Ghana has disrespected Ghanaians because Bank of Ghana has lost in about 2 to 3 years, in a period in between that period, Bank of Ghana has lost over 50 billion Ghana cedis. What I say, in Ghana for business, if this is if Papa Kosundu has disrespected you in that manner, there it means for Bank of Ghana to lose over 50 billion Ghana cedis, it's even a clear disrespect to Ghanaians because, I mean, how can a whole central government will sit down and watch a proper mismanagement of finance and a proper mismanagement of accounts at a whole central bank? Oh, yes, in the Ghana for saying, say, I mean, what kind of disrespect that Papa could say, the disrespect I need to know, Mujina, so Mudi revoking the license of his business. And as I said, there, for a whole Bank of Ghana, as a central Bank of Ghana, to sit down and lose this amount of money, every worker at the central bank need to be fired and need to be sacked from his position, from bottom to down. Because if you sit down and watch for a whole central bank to lose this amount of money there, it's even a greater disrespect to Ghanaians. And then to know whoever works and every worker, every employee at Bank of Ghana need to be sacked because losing that amount of money is a clear disrespect to Ghanaians and even more reason why our economy is struggling. Now, Bank of Ghana so about Bonsi Abaka say the GN Bank their books record in their book records told you say there were irregularities of transactions offshore accounts near the idea. I mean GN banks and GN service and loans and make transactions in dollars in euros that goes to other offshore bank accounts near the idea, which means they are transferring money from GN Bank to support other businesses outside this country, which in turn is against the regulation and conditions of Bank of Ghana. And so that was another reason why the bank, GN Bank was revoked. The kind of financial growth GN Bank was bringing to the economy. I mean, to have over 260 branches across the country will employ over 20,000 employees, or even less, 10,000 to 20,000 employees across the country. You let's assume if each branch is employing over 50 people, 50 times 200 is a lot of number. What I say, 50 times 260 people, 260 branches, it's a lot of people. And you know, Papa Kozu about Bonta say, if they defaulted and I said they were not able to meet some financial requirements, the conditions Bank of Ghana impose more as well now. They have to consider the unemployment crisis in this country, and that they help the government, and I said they help the bank to be able to be sustainable in terms of helping the bank to manage its finances in the idea. And then, it's more like a political games now. Bank of Ghana, Omoni Group, Ndoum, and say Bank of Ghana, Abba Bonta, because the group, Dr. Ndoum disrespected. It's more like now it doesn't have to do with the fact anymore. It doesn't have to do with the actual issues on it. It's more like a political power being is at work here. Why is here? I mean, if you consider the number of unemployment rate that has gone up, it's very alarming because share these banks over 23 indigenous banks were collapsed, and as a financial institutions were collapsed. And I mean, these banks are collapsing. Let's assume say they have averagely 20 branches times 23 banks are how many? And if each bank is employing over 20 people, averagely, how many employment are we creating for this country? I mean, people are saying, say, Anka Bank, and I say, since these banks are local banks, this is the opportunity for the government to be able to help this bank to be sustainable, help them in any way that they are going short. If there are some people who are doing some financial AWB, I mean, the bank has to, and I said the government has to prosecute them. What I say, like the way they did to the other guy, the government has to bring out all those people going to them. Now, most of this bank has been merged into one bank, from a consolidated bank. And information are able to generate. So this is why GN Bank was collapsed. I mean, the information here we are having here are not clear. Allegedly accusing finance minister for deliberately revoking their license into because GN Bank will affect their political chances into more reason why the bank, and I say more reason why their license was revoked. And the Bank of Ghana said because there were financial irregularities in liquidity. Any disrespect be able and into the more reason why the bank was collapsed. Now, maybe we try to talk around at the press conference here, but to just say or sending warnings to any presidential aspirant to be outstanding as a president. Say, I mean, this is the issue on the ground. Internet, so I'm standing for presidency now in case Omuri needs to become president there. And then, which means a new administration altogether they will continue to fight and fight until they can have their license back. And the fight is not for he, Papa Kwesi, the fight is for his customers and his the workers are unemployed for so many years, only the economic only problem, but no the workers in the customers are musika akodi aban ho aninti and of course so a presidential aspirant now you are aspiring to be a president and get ready.
That this is the man they call a Jumawura. I'm not talking politics. So if you are competing to become president, I'm also serving you notice. If this Akufo-Addo administration, they don't give us our license, be ready. When you come, you will give us our license back. And you will see what will happen all over this country. The vigor, the enthusiasm that we will use to lift up GN Bank to make it become a spectacular bank for the unbanked, the millions and millions who are looking for a safe way to save their money, but also.
And as soon as you resume office as president, the issue will come to your desk. And and I made the information areas ABC. See, I know Obia, we say, me the update every Bremo. Me the update every Bremo when you say or can't the media information time about you say mupuchu about you be so. The reason I'm about you buy this information it when say information it house and as a twin food baby what I say and update a woman behind Bremo. Don't forget this show was probably sponsored by Enrich Beauty. Enrich Beauty say open skincare product be as a cream, lotion, body oil, their massaging oil be visit them on their website www.enrich.com www.enrich.com. This product is only available in America. Nti no wo nua bi America na Christmas your Ghana let him order for you. Ghana no their I mean their products are very nice. One cause show me skin say na toss here around him say and rich product be na me di business me honam na honam so chain ne ade no want me so will be your home amazing Ghana for the adolfo ne nuanu bebre wa America nti no baby I will be America there who come website you order a free delivery shipment no a free shipment and into no contact them on their website all sort of skincare product or baby no lotion oil body scrub soaps in there and one interesting and I say one good news about their product and say everything is purely organic what I say purely organic no additive into no natural skin just say it doesn't bleach it gives you that even skin there you need to know reach out to them on their website and reach beauty what I say and you know don't forget if today is your first time joining us or today first time watching this show, kindly subscribe to this channel. If you really enjoy this show, share it with your brothers too. Whatever opinion that they have, share it in the comment section, and we'll be glad to send you a shout out. Thank you for joining us. This is Information Warrior, say, and I am out.